All right, everyone, we have got some epic Armageddon coming out here. Um, did this bat report a couple weeks ago. I was going to try and produce it sooner, but holiday stuff got a hold of us and just family stuff. I'm still got a little snivels going on, so still recovering from that as well. But really had a great time playing against. I played some Imperial Fist against one of my friend's new Necron army. So first time I've ever played Necrons, and we went ahead and just bumped it up to 5,000. You know, if 4,000 is fun, I think 5,000 is just even more fun. I think this epic 40k is just it feels like the more points you play, the more fun you have. So let's just get into this game. But before we do that, just do the YouTube stuff. Up to 1,200 subscribers now, so really appreciate it. Great way to end the year. I got a lot of stuff planned out for next year. So yeah, just keep it coming, and again, just appreciate everyone's support. The black sands of Abelian Prime stretched endless under the midnight sky, the pale light of its dying moons casting a ghostly pale over the Necron tomb world. Great obelisks rose like jagged teeth from the desert, etched with ancient ruins that pulsed with an eerie green light. The air was unnaturally still, as though the planet itself were holding its breath. Somewhere beneath the sands, machinery older than humanity's first steps churned to life, the grinding echoes of alien engines rising like a dirge. At the edge of the dunes, the golden warriors of the Imperial Fist prepared for battle. Their armor gleamed like stars fallen to the earth, illuminated by the glow of braziers and searchlights. Weapons were loaded and checked, purity seals fluttered in the cool desert breeze, and the solemn litanies of the Emperor's might were whispered into the void. In the distance, the first signs of motion stirred beneath the sands. Skeletal forms emerged from their slumber, their metallic bodies glinting beneath the moons. The Necrons moved with eerie unison, their green eyes flaring to life as they rose from their ancient graves. So again, this is a 5,000 point battle. You're going to see some unpainted models, but one of my friends just got his new Necron army and really wanted to play it. I had my Eldar ready, but I've been looking at playing some Imperial Fist again. I really I want to start a second epic army, and it's definitely going to be Space Marines. I really love the army. I love how Space Marines, they're not like, they don't like every army in this in Epic 40k. I think just it is one of those games that I feel every army really it's pretty balanced, but also I feel every army really has its strengths and weaknesses, and just Marines feel like Marines in this game. They don't have anything necessarily fancy. They're just tough. They're strong. They hit hard, and I just so. The more I play Epic, the more I really want to get into some Marines. But yeah, so I'm playing the Imperial Fist this turn. It's a standard 3-turn game, just the 3 objectives on the opponent's side with a Blitz objective, and then we've got some secondaries of Break the Spirit, Line Breaker, and Hold the Line. So for the army list, we'll just go. We'll go into the Imperial Fists here. So just a tactical detachment with some Rhinos. We've got a Terminator detachment. It's a 6-man that's going to be teleporting in. We've got another 4-man Terminator detachment that's going to be in some Spartans. Got 4 Basilisks and 4 Whirlwinds, so we've got some indirect fire coming on here. So we've got 2 sets of Land Raiders, one of which is going to have a teleport homer in place of their heavy bolters. And we've then got 4 Predators. So these Predators are just really solid units, especially for 240, just a really solid unit. Some Sicarans, and then we got 4 super heavies, 2 fell blades, and 2 glaives. So again, those guys are just for 250 are so good. Just looking at some of the points, you can just see the tacticals. They're just tacticals. They're really solid. We got a commander in there. We've then got Terminator Legion. So this is the 6-mans, and they're just Terminators. Just really solid. Also got a Supreme Commander in there. So really like the Supreme Commander. I think it's worth the points to bring a Supreme Commander. Not only do you just get that extra attack with that Paragon Blade, but Supreme Commander getting that reroll is just great. So yeah, we've then got some more Terminators, just the 4-man that are gonna be running in those Spartans. I mean, Spartans. This is the teleporting Terminators, and just Terminators are just so good. They're just so good in this game. They're expensive, but they're good, and just in those Spartans, that's so much firepower right there. Yeah, that's just the Terminators. Got the 4 Basilisks. Basilisks are just, again, really solid with that 120-inch range for their indirect. It's just really solid. The Whirlwinds as well, not as far, but still great. Yeah, indirect fire is just so important in this game. We got a Land Raider, so we got 2 sets of Land Raiders, one of which has just the heavy bolter as a secondary. The other one actually has the auger web, so that's the if you teleport within 15 centimeters of that, you don't take blast markers, and that's so important. I think that I really like the basically the teleport homer in place of a heavy bolter. I mean, Land Raiders are going to be shooting at things with their last cannon, so you know, just something to keep in mind there. Yeah. So just looking at that, so we've got the Basilisks and then the Whirlwinds, and then you know we've got the Spartans ahead. We've got the Tactical Legion, 2 sets of the Land Raiders. You see the newer Land Raiders, the ones with the teleport homer, with the old school Land Raiders on the bottom, or just the heavy bolter. Yep, we got the Predators. We've got the teleporting in Terminators, and then we've just got all those Sicarans, and then again the 4 super heavies. So again, just pretty solid. I mean, these are just Marines. You know, with the Fellblades being a lot more anti-tank with that Titan killer weapon, and then we've got the Glaive, who's primarily anti-personnel, but can also push out some decent anti-tank as well. All right, let's just go into the Necrons. We got some Immortals. We're going to see Immortals are pretty nasty. 2 sets of Immortals. We then got some Warriors. They're running around in their transports. We got some Destroyers, heavy Destroyers. We then got some Doomsday Arcs, which are pretty nasty, and we've got some Monoliths. Yeah, and then we've got some Pylons as well. So let's just start looking at here. So I want to just first time I've ever played, so I want to go through some of the things that's going on in the Necron army. So one thing they have is some of the things have, like the Pylons and the Monoliths have living metal. Living metal basically says even if it's a Titan nuclear weapon, they still get a save against it. Yeah, I mean, they get reinforced armor against lance weapons and even macros. So living metal is actually really nasty in the sense that, like, they're going to get a save, and it's like even against Titan killers, they get saves. So they've also got the Necrons. This is happening throughout the game. You may notice periodically some of these Necron units are going to increase in other words, I kill them, and then they basically models that I had killed earlier all of a sudden have new models, and that's just because there is this reanimation protocols, which is basically that, you know, when they regroup, if they basically roll, I forgot the exact, if they roll basically above it, they can replace some of their units. So really good. Ponderous is pretty important for Necrons in that they can't triple move; they can only do 2. So yeah, and it's a really cool ability as well. Reinforced armor. The other thing is that they have the portals, right? So the portals are, so one thing, the Necron army is slow, but with the Necron army though, they also have these portals, which is primarily through the Monoliths. So there's other things, but he's mainly using the Monoliths, where their infantry can basically come out of any of these Monoliths. So it's really useful. They can actually go in the Monolith and come out of another one. So there's a lot of, even though the army is a little slower, there's a lot of basically shenanigans that you can do with those portals. So pretty cool. And also, you know, they can actually just move. Yeah, it's really, there's a lot of stuff going on in the army. One thing I would say is it's really cool. This is just the Immortals. So Immortals, yeah. So he's got his. Oh, excuse me. So Immortals are pretty nasty. You know, they've got their firepower in AP4 and AT6, 3-up firefight with a 4-up armor. So these guys are really solid. These Immortals are just really tough, really good in the firefight. We've then got some Warriors. Warriors are sort of they're not as good, but they're pretty good 4-up firefight with a 5-up armor. Still really good. Yeah, they've even got some anti-tank at 6 inches, which is just some extra flexibility in the army. Just for the destroyers. So he's got heavy destroyers and combined units. So the destroyers are anti-personnel 4 up. It's 2 shots. So that's a lot of anti-personnel firepower coming over there. There's a lot of skimmers in the army too. So that's the other thing, is that a lot like Elder, all their vehicles are skimmers. So really good against hand-to-hand armies. Then they've got these heavy destroyers, which have an AT3 up. So that's a really good unit to be tagging some vehicles with these heavy destroyers. Then we've got the Doomsday Arcs. Doomsday Arcs are just nasty with their AP and AT3 up, and then they've got a 2-up shot at a anti-personnel or anti-tank 6 up. But just 75, that Doomsday cannon, 75 millimeter range with a 3 up on anti-personnel or tanks, really good. They're a little squishy with a 5 up armor. They got reinforced armor though. So just Doomsday Arcs are just, they're very solid. And then we got the monoliths. So monoliths aren't as shooty. They're a lot more defensive, right? One, they're fearless. They have the living metal. They've got the portal. They can also teleport in. So just a really good, and again, they've got that, the anti-personnel and tank at 4 up is pretty good, but these things are just super solid. As far as just being tough. They also have a small arms 2 attack. So these things are actually pretty difficult to charge into hand-to-hand, because they just, each of them have 3 of attacks. So yeah, I mean, these monoliths are pretty nasty. Finally, just the pylons as well. Praetorians and pylons. The pylons are interesting ones. So they have basically these. They have a Titan killer weapon that's also an anti-air. That's a macro weapon 4 up. So this Titan killer weapon on these pylons are really interesting. They also got live of metal, and they also have teleport. So yeah, these pylons are super interesting. Let's just look at some of the armies. Just on the left, we've got the warriors running in with their transports. In the middle, the 5. So the 3-mans are the transports with the warriors, and then he's got 3 of the 5-mans for the Doomsday Arcs. Below that, he's got his 2 units of 2 6-mans of immortals. Towards the center, he's got 4 pylons, and then he's got 2 in the center. He's got 6-mans that have half heavy destroyers and half destroyers. And then finally, he has got 4. He's got 5 4-man units of monoliths. So there's just a lot of those monoliths. They don't hit as hard as far as shooting, but they're just super tough, super tough. That's just sort of getting in there. Yeah, zoom in. Yeah, I love the models are coming out great. I think these things are going to look great once they're painted as well. He's actually already started doing some priming, and yeah, those things look great at 8mm. So let's just look at the setup here. So going in here, we played some pretty tight on the terrain. We basically have a city in the center with some hills on the left and the right side here. So you can see we have these 2 city buildings, and then these hills that are sort of providing some extra protection on the flank. You can just sort of see some pictures there. Really love these sort of cityscapes with these big pieces of blocking terrain. Just adds a lot of depth to the game as well. Yeah, just sort of looking at that, and yeah, that's just sort of the battlefield. Just a couple more pictures here, and you can just sort of see where we're going to go. For the Imperial Fists, so on the left flank here, you can see there's 2 of my objectives, one in that big building on the top right, and then on the top left here, there's the other objective. He has one of his objectives behind this building. You can see I've committed a lot of sort of my anti-personnel with the 2 glaives. I've then got 2 of my predators, and I've got the basilisk there. And you can see right below those basilisks, that is my blitz objective. And then I have the Sakarans, a lot more of the anti-personnel on the left flank. And then just towards the center, you see I have one more objective, and then that's that center objective for mine. And I have a lot of power just in this center. So just starting from the left, I got the Tactical Legion. I've then got 2 of my super heavies. These are the Fell Blades. I've got a unit of Predators, and then I have a unit of, below that, the Predators, is the unit of Land Raiders. These are the ones with the teleport homer. So the plan is, and then below the tactical attachment is those Spartans. So actually, I have a lot of ability just to commit a lot of my infantry right towards the center. And you can see that's sort of my plan, right? I'm going to run up the center. I'm really just going to use my infantry to hold that center and then go from there. And then towards the right, going a little less, I've got a Predator detachment. I then got my 2nd Land Raiders and my Whirlwinds just for protecting the front. And that's just my 6-man unit of Terminators coming in from Teleport. All right, for the Necrons, he's committed on the right. He's got a Destroyer Regiment on the far right, and then one of his Doomsday Arcs. He has got, towards the center, he has his Pylon with a nice little long... He's found some good places where he can shoot these long-range shots. Remember, those Pylons aren't able to move. Then got a unit of transports, and then towards the left, he's got those other 5-man unit of Doomsday Arcs. Towards his center, again, he dropped some of his monoliths are coming into teleport. So he's got one of those monoliths. He's got his other unit towards the left of his blitz objective, which is that bronze. That's his other warrior squad. His other Doomsday Arc. He's then got a Pylon towards the left, some other heavy destroyers, and then he's got his other unit of monoliths. Just sort of looking in on him, he's got 3 monoliths coming in from teleport, and he's got 2 pylons coming in. So he's trying a pretty heavy teleport strategy in this one here. And this is just finally, he's got, these are his immortals. Remember, those immortals can come out of any monolith. So there's a lot of flexibility. He can bring those warriors wherever he wants to. Those are these immortals. The warriors are in the actual 3-man transports. So that's just looking at a picture of the battlefield. And yeah, just check this out. Oh, this game, 5,000 points, is just so nice. You can just see this game feels like an epic battle. Oh, it's so fun. So fun. You just look at this. Look how much models. This feels like an epic battle. This game is so great. This game is just so great. So you can just see some pictures here. This game, again, it's just seeing all these models on the field. This feels like just so cool. All right. So the Necrons only have an initiative of 2, but they actually beat the 5 initiative of the Imperial, so they get to go first here. Yeah, and this is just some movement going on here, so his transports just advance up. I have my Predators just double up as well, trying to make some space. His Arcs just move up, and they actually shoot at those Predators, kill 2 of them. But remember, Space Marines are 2 for 1, so it takes 4 blast markers to break those Predators, but still lost 2 of them. I just move up. I move up my Super Heavy, shoot one of those Ghost Arcs, kill one of them with that Titan Killer weapon. So his Pylon just sustains, shoots into my Super Heavy, but luckily misses it. So that Pylon needed a 3-up to hit and just misses that. Remember, those Pylons, if they hit and they do a roll of 3, they can actually one-shot those Super Heavies. So luckily he missed, for me at least. Land Raiders are just doubling up, shooting at the Ghost Arcs. Managed to kill two of them, and actually that forces them to flee. So those Ghost Arcs are just fleeing away. It's just a flee move. He goes ahead and just moves up his... remember, these guys are infantry. So he's able to just move up into this building, this objective, from these heavy destroyers. I actually just move up my Predators. I shoot at those destroyers that just moved up. I don't kill anything. I'm at -2. He's in cover, plus I doubled. So I don't do any wounds on him. But he gets 1 blast marker for it. He actually just moves up his Arcs, shoots at my Predators, and just wipes them out. So those Doomsday Arcs with the 3-ups to hit are just really nasty. I go ahead and just sustain with my Whirlwinds indirect into his destroyers. I actually kill 2 of them, so a little bit of luck there. His monoliths are just advancing up here, and then I'm just doubling up with my Land Raiders. I'm really trying to aggressively run into the center, especially those are the Land Raiders with the teleport homer. So I want to get those so I can actually, if I need to, just teleport in those Terminators right onto that objective. They actually shoot into the monoliths, but they're on the double, so they don't do any wounds. He has some really good saves, and those monoliths are just really tough. He doubles up his monoliths. I double up my Predators. I actually shoot at those monoliths, but I don't do any wounds on them. But yeah, he gets a blast marker for it. He advances up. His other Doomsdays, they shoot into the Predators. But yeah, just very lucky here in that I think he rolls bad, and maybe I roll good armor saves. So actually, no predators are lost. So the first Doomsday Arcs wiped out the predators. These don't do any damage, so a little bit lucky there. I have the Fellblade doubles up and shoots at the arcs. Kills one of them with the Titan Killer weapon. Yeah, he just continues to double up with his destroyer units. My Basilisk, they go ahead and sustain it to those destroyers. Kill two of them as well. That actually forces them to break. So remember, these guys aren't 2 for 1, so they break. His warrior unit just moves in with their transports and just move into the objective. Moves up and they shoot at the this is the glaive, doubles up and shoots at the predator, to the monoliths, but no wounds. His pylon just goes into Overwatch, and then I just start doubling up. Again, I'm just trying to really do some damage. I'm actually not able to put any wounds into these monoliths. So they just move up, they shoot, and then actually the other predators, the other glaive, doubles up and shoots at those monoliths. Still, there's no wounds. I think now I am shooting at -1, but he's also rolling some good armor saves. So these monoliths just haven't taken wounds. Finally, I know that I can break them automatically, so I just double up with the Securans. I again don't do any wounds into them, but they still break just from blast markers. But they're fearless, so they just stay there. Finally, the tacticals deploy into the building, as well as I have the other Spartans. They double up and they actually shoot at one of the arcs. They kill one of them, and that's just the Land Raiders deploying into the buildings, and then again shooting into those Doomsday Arcs with their blast cannons. Managed to kill 2 of them. Remember, those Spartans hit pretty well and actually break them too. So they just flee as well, and you can just see the real power. He's going to be bringing a lot of his units in teleport next turn. So I'm trying to just be really aggressive and to just do a lot of damage here. That's just the recap as well. You can see the Marine Army has just been very aggressive, pushing up all the flanks, grabbing the objectives. I know he's slower than me. I also committed a lot of resources in that center objective. So I've got the Terminators and I've got the Tactical Detachment right there, all grabbing those buildings. And again, another thing, a few things that have been missed, like for instance, I think the Super Heavy got a blast marker from getting hit from the pylon. So that's just the picture. So you can see he's really committed up the right flank, just grabbing that objective. Also, that right flank got hurt when I lost those predators. That's just him grabbing the right building as well, right there. And then also, so both of these armies have an initiative of basically 1 up. So during the strategy phase, we all basically cleared off most of our blast markers here. That's also the really good thing about Necrons. They're, like Marines, have an initiative 1 up, just base. So really good. Just sort of showing what's happening here, where we have a lot of just, the Marines. I know he's got teleport shenanigans, so I'm being very aggressive just to grab that center here. He had 1 failed rally test, so these Doomsday Arcs don't rally, but I think everything else just rallied as well. So those Necrons are really good about clearing off blast markers. Also, again, some of these Necrons, he gained some Necrons back from his reanimation protocols. And yeah, it is turn 2, and the Imperial Fists do get to go first. I have a +3 initiative on him. Actually, just use the Teleport Homer to drop in the Terminators. You can see those Land Raiders there. I'm able to, I don't take any blast markers. I really like that Teleport Homer. So I just drop them actually into the building. I'm committing all my infantry into the center here. He actually, so really rough for him. He rolls some really bad teleport rolls. He gets 2 blast markers on one of his monoliths on the bottom left, and then 1 blast marker on the bottom right. So that's really rough just to start when he's dropping in these monoliths. He's getting some blast markers as well that can just see. So, but he does commit 2 of his monoliths on the left side to sort of corner in my tanks. He then drops a pylon that also he rolls a 1. So he does teleport in that pylon, but it starts off with a blast marker. And then I think he had another teleport roll with some blast markers that really hurt him. It's something that, like, more and more I play teleport, like rolling those ones for blast markers is so rough. especially if you're not Marines. But Marines get to go first, and I know he's got some. He has his transports. I go ahead and just assault with the tactical company. Yeah, I kill them. Actually, now since I kill the transports, some of the troops lose as well. I think he loses like half of his troops from when I killed the transports. So they flee. They flee onto the, and I just actually consolidate into the building right next to the monoliths. So yeah, I did lose one of the rhinos, but that's okay. He goes ahead and just marshals. He marshals his monoliths, which had taken those 2 blast markers, shoots at the Sakarans. Yeah, kills one of them, and then, but again, those guys are 2 for 1. That's the best thing about Marines, is that 2 for 1 for blast marker. He retains the initiative and just charges his immortals out of the portal, because he can do that. Yeah, and then just finishes off the Sakarans. Loses 2 of the immortals, which is pretty nice, and then just he consolidates into the building right next to him here. My super heavy just moves up and shoots at that pylon. I only do 1, so I actually only roll a 1 on my Titan Killer weapon, but it's enough to break him. So, although the pylon is still alive, it is broken. But that's that living metal, right? He gets a 4-up save against that Titan Killer weapon here. His other pylon sustains and shoots at the basilisk, kills one of them. Here, that's the one that teleported in. Yeah, my predators just move up, shoots at those. They shoot at those monoliths, kill 2 of them, and break them. So that's pretty good for me. That's just flee, move back. The destroyers, they move up and shoot those 2 predators in return. And yeah, I sustain my whirlwinds into his infantry in the building. I don't do any damage, but I put some blast markers on both the destroyers and the infantry. The immortals actually just charge out of the portals. He charges into those tactical company. Yeah, just absolutely wipes them out. He loses 1, but he kills he kills a ton of them. There's actually only 1 Marine left that actually flees, so those immortals, pretty nasty. He just consolidates towards the building, and that's just my last tactical company that's fleeing. Yeah, my immortals, they sustain into those excuse me, into those monoliths. I only kill 1 of them. I mean, those monoliths are just really, even with sustaining 3-up blast cannons, those monoliths are just so tough. I attempt to retain the initiative with these Land Raiders, but I roll a 1. I have my Supreme Commander on the field in those Terminators, but I roll another 1. So actually, I failed to retain, and those Land Raiders sit there with a blast marker. That was rough. You know, retaining the initiative seems really powerful, but if you don't make the roll, it is so rough. So the destroyers, they just move around the objective and just get there. My super heavy advances, I shoot into those monoliths. I don't do any wounds. I mean, those monoliths, this game, are just so tough. They are so tough. The Doomsday Arcs, they move up, they shoot at the Land Raiders, they kill 1 of them. Here, so that's 3 blast markers on those. That's 2 blast markers on those Land Raiders. The Glaive moves up and shoots at the monoliths, kills 1 of them and breaks them. Remember, those guys had 2 blast markers on them. All he did to do was just put 1 more and kill 1. So those guys break, and you can just see that's the really dangerous thing about teleporting in. When you get a blast marker on you, it's so easy to sort of finish breaking them. Yeah, I mean, those monoliths, then they marshal as well, and they shoot at that super heavy. They don't do any wounds on it, luckily. Remember, those monoliths, they're not particularly, they're very tanky, but they don't have the firepower of like the Doomsday Arcs. The Terminators, they shoot into the Immortals, kill 1 of them, but I'm just trying to put some blast markers on them. The Predators, they double up and they shoot at those monoliths. That's on the left, but they don't do any wounds, no wounds, and they're still fine. So they don't do any wounds onto the monoliths, but it's just enough to actually break them. So that's just their flee move, but with Ponderous and Fearless, he doesn't have to move very far. Fearless is really good on those monoliths. Even when they broke, they don't have to move. That's just the infantry moving up closer in the objective. Those Predators, they shoot at those Immortals in the building. They kill enough to break them, but those Immortals just flee into the portal. So that's pretty cool, actually, that those guys can just flee into a portal. The Pylon shoots at the Predators, kills 1 of them, and breaks these Predators, just the single one left. It's just a flee move for the Predator. And then the Pylon actually fails this pylon tries to retain the initiative and actually fails, so it puts another blast marker on him. That's rough. The glaive moves up and shoots into those destroyers in the building. Kills 2 of them actually. So just stacking blast markers on them. This is just to retain the. This is just me finishing off where the Terminators move up. So basically, the Terminators in the Spartans, they embark on the Spartans, and the Spartans move towards the left flank. He just marshals his heavy destroyers just to clear some of the blast markers on them. And yeah, and that is turn 2. Him rolling some bad teleport rolls has really put him on the back foot, because again, him just getting those 1 and 2 blast markers made it easy for me to break some of these units. But you can just see here, I've grabbed the left objective right now. Towards the center here, that's just the Basilisk holding the Blitz objective. And yeah, that's just also the Basilisk did miss on turn 1. So again, they had 1 blast marker, I rolled a 1, so those Basilisks don't get the chance to shoot. Just showing in the center here, he does have that pylon right there. And towards the center, you can just see he's really grabbed the right objectives here. So he's really pushing up the right flank with his monoliths and his destroyers and those infantry. Just towards the... So that's just him on the right flank where he's a lot more powerful. Towards the center, you can see I'm really trying to grab the center objective. And him just sort of moving around that right flank here. That's just my center where I have a lot of my infantry and my Terminators as well. And then I have my Spartans as well, willing to commit to the left flank here. You can just see that's a picture of the battlefield as well. Him taking the right flank, me sort of holding the left flank, but he's still got a lot there. And then him taking the right flank with me holding the center. Yeah, again, this battle is just really fun to play. I love this scale. This feels like a battle, like it really does. So it's such a great game. Yeah, that's just his right flank where he's just moving up. Again, he's also got those 2 Doomsday Arcs back behind that mountain on the right. And yeah, that's just his other 5-man Doomsday Arcs. These things are so nasty. Yeah, and that's just some of those pictures as well. Alright, turn 3, the last turn, if it doesn't go to a tie, and again, I win the initiative first. Again, Space Marines with that 5 initiative, really solid. Whirlwinds just go ahead and they focus. So what I'm trying to do is I want to take out those destroyers. The Whirlwinds focus, they shoot into those destroyers, they kill enough to break them. That's a really big deal. Those destroyers actually just flee. There's a lot of movement shenanigans those destroyers can do, so I want to try and take them out of the game. I actually retain with the glaive, and I shoot into the other destroyers. Again, I killed 2, but they're still good. So the pylon actually shoots, but misses at the Basilisk. So those Basilisks have just been very lucky. I do take a blast marker here, but those pylons, they only hit on a 4, so you really have to sustain with them. Yeah, the super heavy just moves up. I shoot at the monoliths. I kill 1, and that's enough to actually break them. So those guys, they run a little bit, but they do try to stay within 15 to maybe rally. The pylon, just shoots at the Predators, but misses again. Those pylons are hit and miss. And actually, I have the Terminators. They charge those Immortals. Now that is 2 attacks apiece with macro weapons, but I roll terrible, and I only managed to kill 1 of them. But luckily through combat resolution, I do break them. But I actually rolled terrible with those Terminators. I do lose 1 in the process. The pylon shoots at the glaive, but again, he rolls a 1 on that macro weapon damage, so the glaive actually sticks. The glaive shoots at the at the monoliths. Again, I kill 1, and that's enough to break them, just because those guys started out with blast markers. The monoliths, they move up, they contest the left objective, and they shoot at those Predators. Yeah, they kill 2 of them, but again, 2 for 1 for Marines. Not quite broken. The Doomsday Arcs moves up, they shoot at the Predators as well. They don't cause any wounds, though. Some Predators have been a little lucky. The Land Raiders, they go ahead and they sustain to the Doomsday Arcs, but don't do any wounds into them. Yeah, it's just, even if 3-ups, I don't do any wounds onto them. But the Doomsday Arcs, remember, I put a blast marker on them, but they roll a 1. Remember, these guys needed to move up and actually, they needed to move up and do something, but they roll a 1 and they fail their initiative. They're still able to shoot at the Land Raiders, and they do, but they're not able to move up and grab the objective. So they do kill all the Land Raiders. So they actually roll really good and just murder all the Land Raiders. But that 1 in the initiative was actually pretty big deal, because it stops these Doomsday Arcs from being able to move up and contest that objective here. That was actually pretty rough right there. The Land Raiders, they just reinforce the objective. So I move up the 2 Land Raiders. They reinforce that objective. They shoot at those monoliths and actually kill 2 of them, and that breaks them as well. From there, it's just cold. He really needed... The game easily could have been a tie, but with the 1 on those 5-man Doomsday Arcs, that basically sort of shut the game out. I was able to shoot at those monoliths. From there... We probably could have played it out further, but basically we found out that I was going to win from Hold the Line. Because I was able to basically protect all 3 of my objectives. He wasn't able to contest any of them. So that we basically just called it right there, because he could have easily contested one of my... You can see here those Doomsday Arcs could have easily just come here and contested this objective. He wasn't able to. And so with there, I actually win a 1-0 for Hold the Line. It was a really good game. You can see here, we basically rolled out a few things really quick. But actually, so I could have basically just come over here and just claimed this objective here. So we just called the game right there. It was a 1-0 for just Hold the Line. But you can just see here, this game was just really great. Yeah, and this is just a picture as well with just the Necrons. They're so tanky. Those guys are so tanky. Yeah, but just a really solid game. That's just sort of showing you. That's the Blitz objective being protected by those warriors that had rallied. And yeah, a lot going on. A lot going on in the game. It's just sort of closing out and showing you some laugh pictures here. And yeah, that's just, again, you can just see that center objective being held. Really solid. At the end of the game, we just called it there. It's a 1-0 victory to the Imperial Fist. I really just got the Hold the Line objective. Like I said, we rolled out a few things. We had to close out the game a little early, but very close game. I think morale was key. Like, Marines aren't flashy, but the 2-for-1 on blast markers in morale is so powerful for them. Necrons are just so tough to kill. They're also, I didn't show some of this, but their units, they were basically recovering units during the end phase as well. Yeah, really cool. Just some learning points. I think the Necron, he said he's probably going to bring some more destroyers next time. The teleport homer as well on the Land Raider was super nice. I think he had some really bad teleport rolls. Easily could have gone the other direction. That really hurt him, where he rolled several of his teleport on turn 2. He got 1 and 2 blast markers. That allowed me to just like shoot 1 unit and just break them. So yeah, he's still learning with the Necron army. The Fearless is really good on the Necrons. A lot of their monoliths have Fearless, so they can just basically stay there. Him not being able to triple move means he has to kind of plan in advance. And yeah, I mean, those just monoliths are just so good. The pylons are sort of hit and miss. He's mentioned that maybe he would trade out a pylon for some more destroyers, just for a little more maneuverability. I mean, hey, really enjoy playing Epic 40K. I'm definitely going to be playing more of this in 2025. I'll be picking up some more bat reps, like I said. End of the year, family stuff, But yeah, had a great time. Love feedback, like, subscribe, and comments. I will be playing a lot more Epic in 2025. Hey, and if you're interested for OPR at Epic, just send me your army list for custom armies. I still do that as well. Thanks a lot.